Hi, kitty cats. I am Amethysta Herrick, your hostess for the Purplepaw, a weekly discussion from your friends down here at the Purplepaw clan, exploring the intersection of identity and gender, sexuality and intimacy, and community and spirituality. This content right here is being brought to you by supporters of the Purplepaw clan. If you are already a supporter, let me first thank you for your ongoing support. You know pretty dang well that subscribers not only receive new content directly to their inboxes as soon as it publishes, but are also able to interact with every contributor directly, which does include me. And I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to interact with me. So if you would like to support shows just like this one, as well as other podcasts, videos, and written articles by our contributors, I hope you will consider subscribing using the links you're going to find down there in the show notes. Well, I am very, very honored and excited to introduce my guest today, Tracey Napier. How are you doing, Tracey?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
Good. Oh, no, this is going to be a great conversation, I think. Tracey is an intuitive life coach, a psychic, an author, and a speaker. And her new book, which came out this past December, called Get Changed, helps others unlock their full potential in life. Which, Tracey, if you know anything about me, that's a large part of what I want to do is help people sort of look inside and see who they are so that they can bring it out. And so I thought this, was a good fit to have a conversation. Can we start off with just something sort of your origin story? What was it, and go back to childhood if you want to, but what was it that really sparked your own journey into spiritual leadership and mindset work, everything that you're doing now that led up to the book?
Yeah, I will briefly go back to childhood. I won't bore you with my childhood memories and stories, but, I was born with a cleft lip and palate, and that creates challenges with my speaking voice. As you can tell, I sound nasal, and I have a hard time enunciating certain words and sounds. And I also have a hard time projecting my voice and a whole host of other problems, but those are the most visible. And I was made fun of growing up, and it really got to me. And so I held myself back. Unconsciously, I just basically taught myself to speak when spoken to. And even then, it was a yes or no answer if possible.
Yeah.
So I was really shy, really introverted, and that really carried out through my adult life. And through my adult life, I started opening up more and becoming more comfortable talking to people over time. And then I just kind of, I want to say, fell into this career in the mortgage industry when I was 20 years old. And I just stuck with it. And I learned a lot. It was a good career. I learned a lot. And then I started to become very unhappy and then ultimately downright miserable. And I kept just saying, God, just please help me, bring the right people and the right opportunities into my life. I want to change. I don't like where I'm at. Please change my life. When are you going to change it? And I didn't realize at the time that I was very passive. And I just thought, God's in full control. Like, I'm here in this place for a reason. And then I got laid off my job in December 2022. And I knew that, after the initial shock, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I knew that God was closing a door. He was so gracious to close that door for me in my life that I was so miserable and open a new one. But he was saying, okay, I am opening this door for you, but you're going to have to learn how to take control of your life and create the life that you want. It's up to you. I'm not doing everything for you. You have lessons to learn. And so that's what started my journey into spirituality. It really kickstarted. My mom passed away in 2018, and that's what initially started it. But then in December 2022, when I got laid off, I kind of went full on into this spiritual path. And that's when I really started becoming psychic. My psychic and intuitive ability started kicking in, just kind of opening up. And I was guided to write and to use my voice in however way I can. Speak. And so the first task, if you will, was to write my book. And so I was writing my book. This is probably a month or two after I got laid off. And I started writing the book, and I heard one night, and I simultaneously saw the words, "Get changed. How to become the master of your own life."
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh no. I knew that was supposed to be the topic and the title of my book.
Yeah.
And I had just been laid off, and I was just still trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I was unemployed, and I thought, you want me to write a book on mastering life? You must have the wrong person. But I realized that the book was just as much for me as it was for the readers, because the best way to teach, or the best way to learn, is to teach. And so I had to learn how to step into my power, which is what the book is about. And so I wrote that book, and I published it last year.
So you I mean, yes, there were some circumstances, but then as things started appearing, like, you've purposely pushed yourself in ways that you probably never anticipated doing, right?
Right. Yeah, I've been shy. I kind of outgrew my shyness. It was funny. It was probably about, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. I was out to dinner with a friend, and in my mind, I was still shy. And I mentioned to him, I don't even know what brought it up, but I said, well, I'm shy. And he looked at me very adamantly, and he said, you are not shy. If you're soft-spoken, then you're not shy. I'm like,
I see.
oh, you know what? So I went home and I reflected on that. And I said, he's right. I had labeled myself as shy my entire life. And for a long time I was. But it was just a label. And I had changed. And so, I can be shy at times, but generally speaking, I'm not shy. I am soft-spoken. I get nervous sometimes, but I don't call myself shy anymore. I'm not shy.
I love that. The
Yeah.
idea that somebody else held up, oh, how do I want to say this? I was going to say, held up their mirror. You saw yourself in somebody else's mirror, mirrored in somebody else's eyes, and it was different.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was shocking. I was like, oh, I never really thought about it. So, our labels are powerful.
So you have brought up to this is on your website. I promise I'll have a question here. You have mentioned that physical limitations can be a gift.
Yeah.
How did that happen then? How do you see whatever you consider your physical limitations ultimately to have been a gift for where you are now?
Yeah. That's a good question. So I haven't always felt that way. I always thought that my voice would limit me. Like, it is what it is. I can't change my voice. So I always thought I'm just going to be limited by it. And in fact, I remember my mom, I had a conversation with her a long time ago. I was probably, 10 or 12. And she said, yeah, the doctors even told me that you are going to be limited in life, and that your potential is probably going to be limited because of my voice. And that really stuck with me. I think at that young age, I internalized that, and I thought, oh, I'm never going to amount to anything. And I realized eventually, really not too long ago, in the huge scheme of things, I realized that it was never my voice that was limiting me. It was my thoughts and beliefs about it that did.
Right.
And that changes everything. And so now that I am being guided down this path of using my voice, I'm realizing how powerful it is. And this is my destiny, if you will. This is my purpose, to help others understand that whatever they feel is limiting them, that there's a gift in it. And it's challenging to find that gift sometimes, but there's always a gift. And so it's really about having that shift in mindset and having this growth mindset, if you will,
Yeah.
and looking at your challenge and learning from it. Like, well, I'm here, I have this challenge. What is it here to teach me? I am in this life, my soul is here to learn and grow. And I chose to come into this lifetime with this challenge. So what is it here? What am I supposed to learn from it?
I
And
see.
yeah, and so really that gift for me is to the power of using my voice. And, I have overcome so much. And, we all have our own challenges, right? And for me, it's knowing that I have the power to not only heal my voice through speaking, but it helps heal others as well. It may not help everyone, but for those that are drawn to the message or to me, there's healing messages here. And so for me, it's a matter of having the strength and the power to use my voice and how it impacts other people. And that's a gift to me. That's my gift.
Yeah.
And I'm learning and healing as a result.
Yeah. I almost want to reframe it a little bit. I mean, because how sad it must be to be 10 or 12 years old and be told, hey, good luck. You're just playing limited.
Right.
That being said, I think every parent ends up doing that to their children in one way or another. And
Yeah,
it's not
my mom.
conscious.
Yeah. My mom was just really in conversation, and her point really was like, "You're not that. Like, you're far more than what the doctors ever said you believe or believed you to be." And so that was her point in telling me that. But for me, I think in that young age, I internalized it as the doctors who are seen as authority figures didn't
Right.
believe that they thought I'd be a slow learner and that my potential in life would be limited. And I thought,
Wow.
they're doctors. They should know that a cleft palate has no impact on cognitive abilities, first of all.
Right.
And just for them to think that. But, my small little child mind, I just took it like, oh, I am giving limited. Because I was insecure already. So I thought, oh, it just kind of reinforced my beliefs. And
Yeah.
so it's not good.
No, not at all. So it's, I mean, so the way that I see or what I'm hearing anyway, the gift that you received was ultimately the ability to challenge yourself. Do I get that right?
Yeah, to challenge myself to be really, really learning resilience and the power of using your voice. Our voices and our words are powerful. And I held myself back. And so part of the gift for me too is I held myself back and I wanted to keep myself small because I was afraid of what people would think of me. And it's not that I don't have those fears today. I'm still working through them. But I am putting myself out there despite them. And that is helping me grow because it is getting easier over time. And I don't have as much anxiety coming on podcasts or speaking however way I'm speaking, right? And so that is a gift. I'm learning, I'm growing. And so any kind of growth in my mind is also a gift. And it's helping, like I said, our souls are here to grow. And so any kind of growth is a gift to me.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I appreciate that. I wanted to follow up on one other thing. You mentioned that you had embraced psychic ability more in the past, I guess, 3 years or so. Was this something that was always sort of present, something that you always knew was in the back of your head from when you were a kid?
Well, so I have had experiences, I'll say, with like people talking to me, literally like a few. I could count on one hand. It wasn't that many. But every now and then I would hear someone say something to me or call my name. I feel like there was a period in my life where I felt someone physically. It's kind of funny. I'd actually go to bed at night, and as soon as I would lay down, I would feel someone crawl into bed with me and lay down next to me, and they would like scream me. I'm like, who are you? And
Wow.
I felt them, even though I didn't see them, and they didn't talk to me. That's another story. But I would have these feelings and knowings, but it wasn't very prominent. And so I never considered myself psychic. I never considered myself intuitive. And
The spooning was not very prominent?
well, yeah, true. It was.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, if that had happened to me, I would have been like, dang, I am really in touch with something. But
Well, I was trying not to freak out. Like, okay, obviously she doesn't want to hurt me, so I'm just gonna let it go. And I didn't feel it for very long. Usually it was like, maybe 10 seconds, and then I wouldn't feel it anymore. Maybe a little bit longer, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let this pass. It's just creepy, but I don't want to say anything or do anything to make him mad.
Right.
So I'm just going to be here and just wait it out.
So this is when you were younger, though. So it's
that was when I was in my 30s. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Maybe mid 20s, actually. Yeah.
Okay, but it's blossomed more over time now that you've.
Yeah.
Do you? Ooh, I've got a question here because I have spoken to enough. I think I'll just say sensitives at this point, where almost everybody. How do I want to put this? Like, sort of has a calling and goes, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. And finally, at some point, the universe clunks you on the head and goes, all right, it's time for you to think about this. Mm-hmm. You either step into this, or it's going to continue to be painful. And I've actually even heard that described as, use your gift or the gift just uses you. But either way, it's going to happen. So did that sort of happen? Did you when 2022 came, the being laid off and everything, was it sort of that awakening where you went, okay, I'll step into this?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm at the tail end of that awakening, to be honest. So my guys are telling me now, like, you need to speak, use your voice. Like, basically, not to kidnap is the way I'm interpreting it. Like, you need to get out there and use your voice. You have an important message to share. And otherwise, the door's closing. And your opportunity is coming to an end. Change is coming. And so I'm being called to use my voice now more than I am. And I have all this fear. Like I said, I still have fear. And I'm finding that it is still holding me back, even though I'm doing so much more now than I used to. I have my own podcast, and I just kind of opened up, and I'm going on podcasts, and I'm doing videos for social media. All this stuff that I never would have done 2 years ago, and I'm doing that. So I'm proud of myself for that. But there's more. Like, I know the universe is telling me I'm ready for more. Like, I need to do more. So I'm at that. They're calling me to do it now. Now is the time.
I love that. Yes. Right. Use the gift or it'll use you. But either way.
Yeah. Like, things are coming, so embrace it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So in this work, especially with the development of your more psychic abilities, the more, like, there was some less psychic abilities, some more psychic abilities. This one's only about halfway. I don't know. You've used the phrase empowered soul leader. Can you tell me, first of all, it's on your website, I think. You've made it look like, wait, did I?
I don't remember seeing that.
Shoot, where'd I get that?
I don't know. So I should go ahead and ask the question.
No, maybe I made it up. If I did, I was going to feel sort of goofy. I feel kind of sort of goofy. Well, because we talk about, or you talk about, I do, but you talk about empowering people, right? So, they become empowered. Gosh, where did I may have made this up.
No, but I like
Oh,
that.
not. There you go. I give you full, full permission to use it. Yeah, live it up. It's all yours now. Well, crap, I was going to ask you what it meant.
Oh,
And if I
well,
made it up.
I can answer
So,
my question what I think it means.
sure, let's do that. Since you
Yeah.
have no idea what I was talking about and I have no idea what I was talking about, pull us out of the mud at least a little bit.
Empowered soul leader.
I want to tell you something too, Tracey.
Okay.
Like this is absolutely the kind of thing that happens on this podcast all the time. Like I am not editing that out. Just embrace, the messiness of the whole process. So go ahead. What do you think empowered soul leader means?
Wow, I like that. Well, I would say that would be someone who is living from a place of authenticity and
Yeah.
alignment, and who is aligned, confident in their ability to take responsibility for their life and and lead not only their lives but lead by example.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. That's what comes to mind immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. You have spoken about mindset as well. Because you had said originally the limitations were not in your body but in your mind.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you do has to do with mindset work. What do you think is the number one thing that people misunderstand when it comes to mindset?
I think because it's hard to shift, it feels hard to shift, that people may be turned off by it and think, oh, I can't do it. It's just impossible. When it is challenging, I think for most of us at least, it's certainly challenging for me. But I think for me, I like doing like the inner work and doing journaling and reflecting and trying to understand myself and why I behave certain ways, and that to me it helps me make that mindset shift. Really, just going and learning about myself and how did I get to where I am today? Why did I get mad at someone for doing something so silly? Or why did that upset me so much? And so digging into the why, when you understand yourself and learn about who you are, then you naturally start to shift your mindset because it's more compassionate and understanding, and then you want to learn and you want to grow so that you can continue that. And that isn't, I want to say, an evolutionary shift. You shift naturally. But also you can make little shifts, every day, and ask yourself different questions. And I heard my guys say one time recently, think about the kind of help that you need. Because I am moving and I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this or that, or how am I going to get there. And they're like, just think about the kind of help that you need. Like, oh, that was a completely different mindset shift because I was focusing on what I didn't have and what I needed, not the help that I could get. So just little shifts like that are really powerful.
That's amazing. Yeah, the idea of going from a thought of lack to a place to a thought of abundance. You go look at all the resources around me versus look at all the resources I lack. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There was one thing you said, and I don't know. But anyway, I picked up on this. What you had said is that when you think about yourself and you question, why you do what you do, you said you end up building compassion. do you mean compassion for yourself or compassion that goes outward?
It's really both. More, I would say it starts with compassion for myself. Because it's more of an understanding, like, oh, that makes sense. I understand why I had that belief or I told myself that story, but I now know it's no longer true. And that builds compassion for me. And then when I recognize that same, belief or story, or at least I feel like I do in other people, it's like, oh, they have something that they haven't recognized yet either. They have healing to do. We all do. And so it helps me be more compassionate for other people too.
Yeah, yeah. I I think that's a great result. Like it seems like not the kind of result you would expect. There was I'm not gonna an existential psychologist. That's what he was. That's the type of psychology. The guy's name is Rollo May, and that was one of the big conclusions he came to. That if we understood ourselves better, it gave us more compassion that went outwardly as well. And how fascinating that you're observing this in real time.
Yeah.
I imagine I've observed it, but I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
love that.
so.
Yeah, I do. I've also I understand too there is a large spiritual component to everything you do. Obviously, there's your work as a psychic. How does spirituality come into all of this?
Spirituality for me is really the heart of it all. For me, I am a very spiritual person. I connect with God. I know not everyone does, but whoever you connect with, that's spirituality. When you're connecting with something larger than you, bigger than you, and yourself, and others. And spirituality it comes in many forms. It comes in the form of meditation or Reiki, which I'm a Reiki practitioner too. But Reiki or various spiritual practices, journaling and reflecting, I would consider that a spiritual practice. And I do, because you're going within and connecting with yourself, something higher than yourself, and you're learning and growing your soul, and that's spiritual. We're spiritual in nature. Our soul is spiritual. Our human suit here, and we have this while we're here in the physical plane, but we're spiritual in nature. And so for me, everything's spiritual. It's grounded in spirituality.
I see.
Yeah.
And when you're saying this, I'm going to rephrase just to make sure I understand, because you're talking about a connection to something greater. So, okay. So
Yeah.
we don't see our purpose as just stopping here, but rather we are parts of a greater whole. Would you say?
Yes. Yes. We're serving a greater purpose. We each have individual lessons to learn, but there is an overall collective where we are all learning and growing, and we're all interconnected, and there's a divine plan, and we're all part of it. And so for me, that's the spiritual foundation. Like we're all here to learn and grow, and so we need to do our part.
Can I get a little bit philosophical? Do you
Sure.
you said there was a divine plan. If there's a divine plan, why do we need to heal? Because aren't we just fulfilling what the plan would be? How much agency do we have?
Well, that's a really good question. And, again, these are my beliefs. I know not everyone's going to agree, and that's totally fine. But there is a divine plan. I believe God has a divine plan, but we also have free will. And so right now, I know my path, because I'm being guided down it, is to use my voice. And I know I have free will, and if I choose not to, then my soul is not going to grow the way it was intended to. I'm going to miss out on the opportunity. I may have, in my mind, I may have to relive this lifetime and learn those lessons, whatever lessons I came here to learn. So this is my opportunity. And so there is that free will. And so even when we choose not to fulfill our commitments, our soul commitments, then it's still all in divine order. Because we still
Okay.
learn, and then we have to learn, okay, well, this is what I did, and this is what I didn't do. So now we have to learn what I didn't learn and do it all over again, in a different form. And so, God is amazing. I don't know how he does it, but there is a divine plan and divine order to everything. So,
I see.
in my mind.
So no, it was great. And so the divine plan can be delayed, but it's not going to be denied. I wanted something that with an alliteration there. It can be delayed, but not denied.
Yeah, I feel like just as a soul, if we don't learn the lessons that we're here to learn while we're in this lifetime, then we have to do another lifetime and learn those lessons. And that's obviously my opinion. But that is what I believe, and that is why I am all about trying to empower others to do that inner work so we can learn the lessons. And not only that, when we do that inner work, we're more aligned. We make decisions in alignment with our soul's purpose and path, which is the highest and best path for our life. We're more fulfilled, we're more happy. It's not to say that we won't have any challenges, we will. But it's you're making decisions that are in alignment with that path, and things just flow more smoothly, and you feel more fulfilled, and like you're living a life of purpose and meaning. And that's what we all want, right?
Of course. Well, I don't know. I think there are plenty of people out there who say, I don't want purpose, just give me a lot of money. That's my purpose.
Well, maybe there's a lesson there too.
Right. So you found a purpose, or rather, maybe I would say your purpose was revealed to you.
Yeah.
Actually, let me step. Okay, so yeah, you feel okay with revealed.
Yeah.
How do other people do this? Because I'm going to stop. Let me just put a question mark there, and I don't know what that little gesture was.
Yeah, I feel like when we do the inner work, and granted, I'm still doing it, like it's a lifelong journey, right?
Oh, of
but
course.
when we do the inner work, part of what that does is it helps us really know who we are, and we feel grounded and centered and calm. It calms our nervous system because we're not on high alert thinking, oh, what are they going to think of me? Or, I'm worried about this, all these, potential threats. And it calms you. And when you're more calm, the more calm you are, the more open you are to receiving those intuitive nudges. Whether we believe in psychic abilities or not, we are all intuitive. And when you can develop your intuition, you can feel the guidance, and then you make more aligned decisions. And so you'll be guided to where your purpose is, where that path is for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So each of us has to do this personally. We can't go to somebody. We can't go to the oracle and say, "What is Neo's purpose?"
Well, I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong with going to an oracle, in my opinion, but you still have to do the inner work. That might guide you. Like for me, I went to psychics. Well, gosh, I went to psychics throughout my life, and a handful of them told me that I see you writing a book. And one of them even told me, I see you writing a book and on stage, but you're holding yourself back. And I'm like, on stage? Why would I ever be on stage? I can't even talk.
Right.
And I blew it off. And now I'm seeing that, that is my path. And so, going to a psychic or doing the oracle, consulting oracle, tarot, whatever, could potentially help you, point you in the right direction, but you still have to do the work.
Right. I have the feeling, and it doesn't even have to be like you went to somebody who gave you some of this information. I have the feeling that almost all of us have these these inklings all through life where we'll go, I bet you I could write a book and be on stage, and then go, no, I can't. That's ridiculous. Are these the messages that you're mentioning? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
if you have those, then pay attention to them and act on them.
yeah,
Even baby steps. I remember as a child, I was probably, I don't know, 8 to 10 years old. And I remember distinctly feeling that I was going to be a role model growing up, on stage. I actually saw myself speaking on stage, and I blew it off. Like, I am, I can't even talk. Like, so it was confusing to me. It was so far from where I was at the time, so I was like, oh, that's just a weird daydream, whatever it was. So I remember that, and now I'm like, oh, that should be a reality for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is our connection to the universe. I
It
would say,
is.
right? I mean, that's how this comes into us.
Yes. Yeah, it's a connection and follow those intuitive nudges. If you have dreams, for example, I like to write poetry. And, my logical mind saying, you can't make money writing poetry. Like, I love poetry. I don't write it that often because I talk myself out of it. But I know I've been guided now that poetry is part of my path. And if God says you're a poet, then act on it. I'm learning to write more poetry now and share my poetry. And there's a way. Like, if I'm worried about making money, then God will find a way for me to make money doing poetry. So if you have those fears like I have, then pursue it anyway. Your dreams are there for a reason. Don't discount them.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Your dreams are there for a reason.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to follow up on, and it's gone completely out of my head. So I'm hoping if I just sit here and think or sit here and talk, let my mouth move, my mind will catch up at some point. But I do remember what I was going to say. Because when now I have to figure out how I want to frame it. Like finding a purpose, I think it's really frequent, or it happens often. Let me use myself as an example. I swear I'll finish a sentence. Just give me a little time. When I was growing up, all my life I'm like, well, of course I'm in science, right? I have to do science. I'm good at doing science. I should be doing science. Went into biology and then chemistry and all the other stuff, technology. And yet it didn't speak to me. It wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't rewarding.
Yeah.
But I was good at it. And so it was kind of like, well, why would I not? You're mentioning how do you make money doing poetry, and I'm not even thinking about it. I'm like, what poetry? I know I can make money being a chemist. So, which by the way, I never really was a chemist. So, interesting tidbit there. Just taught. So I guess, now I've talked myself into this point where I can ask the question of, do those always align what we're good at doing and what's fulfilling to us, what's going to be most beneficial for the universe for us to do? That question makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think it's a matter of following, like going within and really thinking about the person that you want to be. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Yeah.
Do you want to be where you're at today? Are you fulfilled in, we'll just talk about career, are you fulfilled in your career? If you are, like, where do you want to be? So imagining who you want to be down the road and what they would do, even if it seems completely illogical. For me, I imagine speaking to millions of people. And it seems illogical, but I'm envisioning that and writing lots of books and doing all these fun things and poetry. And visualize who you want to be and really just sit with it and imagine that. And if that is what you're doing today, great. Most of us settle for jobs or careers that aren't aligned and that we don't want to do the rest of our lives. There are some people that have found their calling and their purpose, which is amazing. But really, I think the key is just getting to know yourself. You have to know what your interests are, passions, goals, dreams, core values, all of that, strengths, weaknesses, and what's calling to you. And really just going within and visualizing. And if you visualize something and it doesn't feel quite right, you just feel how it feels in your body. If it's not feeling aligned, then it's not aligned. Just keep opening up and feel into it and feel what feels aligned. And take baby steps to get there, regardless of what it is, even if it's really approaching.
What's your favorite method for doing that? For I guess talking to yourself and finding getting the answers to those questions.
I usually meditate and visualize, most often meditate. But also when I meditate, I do receive guidance. But I also journal. When I journal, I either journal on a computer, I usually use my computer most often, or sometimes I just don't feel like sitting down, I'll need to move. And so I use my phone and I'll record a voice journal in ChatGPT.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I can copy and paste that into my journal. So that's another way of journaling. But journaling in some form is really helpful. Just kind of sitting down and writing it out, or moving and talking. When you move, it gets your energy flowing and your mind kind of opens up more. So those two ways are really good, and visualization. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Visualization. Because if you didn't really know what would be rewarding, so if you're meditating, is it like, well, let's see, could I be like an astronaut? Could I be a poet? Could I be whatever? Do you mean like that?
It's really just letting go and seeing what comes to mind. Don't consciously think about it. Just letting go and just see what comes to mind.
Yeah.
And so, okay, if you're spiritual, I always invite my angels and guides in and ask for clarity and to help me to identify, help me with whatever. So you can ask, help me identify what it is I'm meant to do in this lifetime. And then just sit there and be open without trying to control your thoughts as much as possible. And breathing, breathwork helps with calming your nervous system. So taking cleansing breaths helps you calm and be more open. And just sit there. Even 5 or 10 minutes can be helpful. I don't usually do much more than that.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of meditation, no doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of even if all you're doing is calming your mind. I'm saying even if that's all you do, that's a pretty huge thing in today's world. So much going on.
Yeah, so much
Oh yeah. Well, right. I even just in our own head, everything that's going on around us too. There's all the social media, all the the news that happens, all the people who are watching the social media and the news, and so it's tough to let some of those voices slip away from you. What do you think would be the impact if everybody in the world, everybody too, if everybody in the world suddenly said, okay, you know what, I'm going to stop trying to move forward, rather let myself let moving forward come to me. I don't know if I'm saying that very well. Did that, rather than taking guesses at what's the best path, allowing the best path to come to us and present itself as the path?
I want to be careful with the terminology. I feel like we're seeking the path, not letting it necessarily come to us. We're seeking that path through the visualization and meditation. I think I'm probably a little sensitive to the word like passivity and the term the passivity and letting things
Okay.
come to us, because that's part of my soul lesson, to really take charge and take responsibility for my life. And that's part of my lesson. So like, no, I don't want things to come to me. I need to co-create my life.
All right. No, I appreciate that clarification. Thank
Yeah.
you. Because okay. So go ahead. So it's a co-creation now. If we,
Yeah. So we're seeking our path and then aligned action or aligned alignment. And so we're seeking that, and then once we start getting, we're not showing the entire path, right? We're showing like, okay, this is your next step, kind of thing. Like, okay, I know that I need to speak now. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? Where do I speak? What kind of stages am I on? What kind of, like, what do you mean? And so I had to figure that out and take baby steps to do that. And, God is so merciful. Like, He doesn't expect us to make, like a light switch. You're like, oh, okay, I know my path now, and I'm just going to go do it. It doesn't work that way. We all need to learn and grow, and it takes time to get out of our conditioning, our habits, our routines. And so, even baby steps, though, toward that next step is going to get you to where you want to be. And when you continue doing that, you can look back on your life, 6 months, a year, 10 years, and probably not even recognize who you even are. Because you're in such a different place, a better place.
right.
And it's amazing. Mm-hmm.
And this is where you've turned it into a practice of self-awareness and evaluation, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of my chapters in my book is develop a spiritual practice.
Okay.
And I kind of go into a little bit what that means and give examples of spiritual practices and how they've helped me. And they're really important for us to help us learn and grow as a soul.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you. Can you tell me a bit what all does your book go over? Like what? I think I'm just going to leave it at that. What all's in the book?
Yeah, so it is a small book. It's maybe like 100 pages, and I've been told it's a lighthearted self-help book. Because a lot of self-help books are heavy and a lot of information and just hard to get through oftentimes. And what I do is I use a metaphor. I use lots of metaphors, but each chapter has a main theme, a main metaphor. And so it walks you through the steps that can be changed, literally and metaphorically. Metaphorically, like chapter 1 is called Eliminate Bad Habits. And I use a metaphor of cleaning out your closet. And chapter 2 is get out of your comfort zone. And so now that we've cleaned out our closet, we need to go shopping and for new habits and experiences to enrich our life that are more aligned. And so we're going shopping. And so I use a metaphor for each chapter through the process of getting changed. And it keeps it lighthearted and I touch on many different things. So chapter 3 is get to know yourself. And chapter 4 is nurture your health. And that's your mental, physical, and emotional health, spiritual, like holistically.
Yeah.
And chapter 5 is change your thoughts. And chapter 6, like I said, is develop a spiritual practice. And then chapter 7 is step into your power. Okay. And when I was writing the book, I got to chapter 7. I knew I wanted that chapter to be step into your power. And as I started writing it, I realized the entire book was about learning how to step into your power. And that's when it really hit me, like, this book was all about me and learning how to, the lesson for me to step into my power.
Right.
And, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of a lighthearted, I call it small but mighty. Small but mighty little book. And it's really good to kind of get you thinking about your soul growth, your purpose, and starting your spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it sounds fascinating. Oh my gosh, I just realized I didn't put your website correctly on the notes that I have here. I'm going to go change that. Because I was going to ask now, after all that we've been talking about, and forgive me too, obviously, I did sort of a copy and paste here. Sorry, everybody, this is what I do. Can you tell us, now that we've had all this conversation, can you tell us how people can engage with you more fully, like on the internet, however else?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, probably the best way to find me is on my website at traceynapier.com. And I have all my social links there. I am most active on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. But yeah, feel free to connect with me there. I have a link to my book there and my coaching, speaking, what I have to offer, and a little bit about me too.
All right. So, you work with people one-on-one.
I work with women. I work with women, and we use my book as the foundation for coaching. And so yeah, it's a new journey for me, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you're making videos. You mentioned TikTok, Instagram. So how do you, it's so hard for me to open up one of those things and not just sit there and go down like this 2-hour hole where I'm going, wow, funny cat meme, funny cat meme. Apparently you're doing better than I am, but
Yeah, I don't spend a ton of time on social media because, like you, it's so addicting. Like, I know, like, if I spend time on it, I'm like, okay, sometimes I even caught myself this morning. I went to check my phone because I saw a notification, and I looked at my TikTok, and I was like, okay, Trace, like, you spent a minute on this, so that's not what you went on here for. Put your phone down. Step away from TikTok.
right. But you have to answer comments and stuff, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so, to a certain extent, it's okay-ish.
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
Occasionally. Yeah. So, all right. Well, cool. Thank you so much. This is I think this is important work, and I'm glad that you're doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's important work, making the world a better place, right? So.
Yeah, and making ourselves better too.
Yeah, I kind of see the two as going down the same path, really.
Yeah. Yep.
If we understand ourselves better, yeah.
Yeah, the collective.
So.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. No, this has been really good. I guess I guess I can go ahead and do a shutdown. Was coming near the end here. Let's see. Was there one last thing I wanted to ask you? I don't know. Oh, you know what? Actually, I did. On your website it says the gift and physical limitations. Would you make that generic and just say gifts in any of our limitations or our perceived limitations?
Yeah, it is really that. And I focus on physical limitations like my voice, or some people have a challenge with being overweight, or one leg is longer than the other, that kind of thing. Because oftentimes I feel like, I can speak from my own experience. I let that hold me back. I don't want others to do that. So it's something about our physical body that creates challenges in our life. But the same can be said for any challenge, right? So, yeah.
Well, it strikes me though, many of the, some of the challenges that we have, if they are internal, they're not visible, and so other people don't see them or whatever, hear them and say, oh, that seems like a limitation. So now I see.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to clarify, physical limitation doesn't necessarily mean visible. It can be invisible.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. All right. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that clarification. I guess it was, I was thinking originally that there were limitations that might have been applied externally that then we accept internally and need to overcome.
Yeah, it's any kind of physical, any kind of limitation we have with our physical body, whether it's
Okay.
visible or invisible, and that's what I speak about.
All right. There you
Yeah,
go. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. I'm glad I asked
sure.
that last question. All right. Again, I just want to say thank you so much. I've enjoyed this conversation. I appreciate you and the work that you're doing, because I think it's gonna improve the world, and
Yeah.
that's a great thing. So thank you so much, Tracey.
Yeah, thank you for having me and having a platform for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, my name is Amethysta Herrick. You've been listening to the Purple Podcast. I was joined by my guest, Tracey Napier. We spoke about life without limits, her book Get Changed, and of course, overcoming the limitations ultimately that we set on ourselves. So thank you again, Tracey.